Alright, so I'm back. So I exited the game and loaded the... Oh my, user interface is different. Okay, I didn't even notice that. I think that's because I exited it and then came back into it, and now the looks like it's changed the resolution. That's fine though. So I have the statistics of the 4 years that this was running. So we do have a winner, and it was this gatherer. Oh, that's what happened. Okay, I see. I see. The user interface didn't change. It was these were, for some reason, when you go back into it, this this production thing wasn't clicked. That's fine. So this gatherer was the winner for being the most efficient overall, and it was around 3,200 when there was 4 people. Let's just kind of sort of go over what this looks like. So I have my well here. I like wells, and I actually really like wells. So a lot of people say that they're not very effective, but I find them to be effective. And for what they do is they sort of make it hard for the fire to spread. So if you have a building that's on fire, you lost that building essentially. But you can contain the fire by having these wells, okay? And so when you have pockets like this where there's a lot of buildings, or even like this where I have tons of buildings clumped together, you basically want to minimize the maximum distance from all buildings. So you want the well basically in the center, okay? And in this area, I'll have multiple wells. So I'll show you. I have one there. I have one there. I think I have one up here. Yeah, there it is. There's one up there. And I think I have one in here. And so I guess I'm missing one in this area, but that's fine. Woodcutters can go, I guess. Yeah, well, anyways, okay, so what else? Yeah, the gatherer and the storage barn go next to each other, like right next to each other. And the reason why is because within this area that the gatherers can gather, you want their drop-off point to be as close as possible to them. So if you have a storage barn in the center, you're always guaranteed to only have to walk, that far. It might be, well, unless the storage barn's full, but most of the time they'll only have to walk that far, the gatherer. And same thing with the forester. You want a storage location like right next to the forester. So I put this little tiny stockpile there. And in the early game, that actually helps to control the rate at which your woodcutters and your foresters work. It's not as evident now because my city's more than 100 people, but in the early game, if the forester is working really hard, he'll dump some of these in here and improve the efficiency of the woodcutter. And if the woodcutter is working really hard, he'll walk over here to get these logs, and it improves the efficiency of the forester because they can replenish here instead of having to walk back all the way over there. So in the early game, that's good. What else? The houses. After I've placed these 4 buildings, in the forest node, I place the houses, and I make sure that I'm not, by placing those buildings, that I'm not blocking the doors to the storage barn, so that, you know, on this side, on this right side of the forest node, the gatherer has the quickest route, is just a straight shot. It's like as the crow flies on this side of the storage barn. Same thing over in this quarter of the circle here. The other thing is that when I'm placing the houses, I keep the well in mind. So I'm trying to make the distance as short as possible. Here I could have done better, but I also, when I'm placing my houses, I kind of try to make them aesthetically pleasing. So you know, that's kind of a concern, but not really. The kind of a concern, you know, like having the shortest distance to the well. You know, a certain distance is good enough for me. Where's my well here? Oh, it's right there. So yeah, and with that in mind, I can change the look of some of my forest nodes. I can have them look differently. The other thing about this is if you choose to put a herbalist in your forest node, you can place it right here without it impeding the traffic of your gatherer. What else should I mention? Yeah, so here you know, before I encroached on this forest node, these houses were thrown all the way over on this side and this well, so that's kind of how I changed the look of my forest nodes, make them not all look the same. And here I threw 2 houses. This is encroaching a tiny bit on the effectiveness of the gatherer, just a little bit. That house right there. You want to make sure that you can have traffic going in both up and down and left and right. So a pretty much straight shot here. Like I could have a space between these houses that would kind of improve efficiency, not really, but a little bit. You know, if you have traffic going both up and down and sideways. You want diagonal rows whenever possible, because people use these often. People use these very often. Is there anything else that I should mention? One of the things that I've noticed but haven't been doing that I should be is whenever possible, if you have a little space like right here, it'd be a very good idea to drop a little stockpile in right there. Right here too. Very good idea. That just improves the efficiency of your foresters a little bit. Okay, so back to the numbers. So I've entered all these in, so I can go ahead and close these. What I found is I actually do have the numbers here, and this is actually good. These are good numbers. I like them, even though you know, some of the foresters weren't collecting logs, and some of the gatherers, they decided to drop off some logs, so didn't get quite good numbers for a couple of them. Actually, like 4 or 5 of them, but good enough numbers. So what I have is that the gatherers, with 1 worker working in the node, the gatherers had an average of 972 food collected, and with 4 workers working in the node, they had an average of 2,162 food collected, which is an average of 540 and a half food per person. And so when you have a 4-worker node, it is as effective as 2.253 1-worker nodes, and which is, you know, it's I'll say it this way, with this having 4 workers, it's just as good as if you had 2.253 of these nodes with just 1 worker in them. So, you know, throwing workers in your gatherer, you lose efficiency per worker, but you get more food output out of that node. Okay, so for the forester, what I did was I decided to use the do these numbers as a trade value of a food, like similar to the gatherers, like the gatherer collects all these, which are worth one each in the trade depot. So the forester, whatever they collected, if they collected logs, that's worth 2. If they collected anything else, I decided that was worth 5. Just because, you know, whether to deal with it or not. I didn't remember what they were actually worth. I think it's like 8 and 6, so it's a conservative number. But anyways, the forester with 1 worker, and it didn't really matter either because there was only 2 that was collecting other things other than just logs. The forester with 1 worker had an average trade value of 179, and which is about 80 logs. And with 4 workers, it had an average of 463 trade value, which is 116 per person, or a ratio of 2.65. So if you had 1 4-worker forest node, it would be the same as 2.65 1-worker forest nodes. So those are good numbers. You can trust those because I've done this over 13 forest nodes with sort of a variety of you know, efficiencies and stuff. So oh, I have another school. Forgot about that. Yeah, so I was focused mainly on, you know, my economy, and so these forest nodes seem to be, the way I've set them up, seem to be much more efficient per worker than you can get crops to be. I think this one will be able to use 2 workers, so that's still only 800 food per worker. So, or actually 700 and whatever that was, 780. So so the nodes seem to be much more efficient per worker. The only thing is that they actually do take up more space. So if you're trying to maximize your space utilization, you have to start thinking about throwing in some farms. You know, when you reach the limits of your map, you have to start thinking about throwing down those farms, and, you know, start sacrificing some of these nodes that you set up. Let's see. Let's start acting like I'm actually playing the game now, just to get an idea of my gameplay. Okay. Let's see. So now I'm in sort of a separate mode. So I'm gonna put these back to 0. Put this back up to 2400. Yeah. These markets work well. What I try to do, what I'm trying to do now, is to, I think, for my, one of the things I noticed is that, like when you get to 1,000 people, this game starts slowing down. One thing that I've noticed is that the longer the pathing, like that really affects performance when you get into the 1,000 people population. So I think trying to limit, you know, somebody having to walk halfway across a map to their job site, I think that you can get some performance increases from that. So I won't have to stop dropping my settings until, you know, 1500 hopefully, you know, until I get insane and when I'm trying to play this game, right? Or, you know, I could leave it running. Haven't decided yet whether I want to try to do it in as quickest time as possible or not. What else? Start playing the game until I think of other things to say. Oh, that was supposed to be 3,200. Yeah, boarding houses. Basically for nomads. You know, and you keep the nomads increase in size when you get higher populations. I think it's about 10% of your population that come. And oh, I missed nomads. No, I cannot believe it. I missed them. No, come back. I must not have seen well, I have this game saved, so I'll be able to accept them. Hasn't been too long. Stupid playing for too long. I have this game saved about just when the year ticked over, so. Oh man, I feel bad now. I feel horrible. What should I talk about? Oh yeah, this one was not the worst node. Even though there's like a mountain there. Oh man, this game just, like, you can watch these people walking around for hours, basically. This game is just that awesome. This guy did a really good job on this game. Sometimes it's better to, you know, simplify things. Like, you don't need a bunch of people to make a game like this. It's like the simplicity principle. The KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. You know, he just worked on the bare bones minimum, and you should read his notes that he has, the development notes and stuff. Oh, these trading depots are done. Okay, so yeah. I think I will use this map. This is just an awesome map. The only problem is this giant mountain right here. Kind of, you can put a tunnel here, but any negotiation between these areas, even up into here, like I can fit 3 trading posts here, but that means I cannot put a tunnel through here, so there can be no And he fixed that to where these people won't try to go over here unless there's a tunnel. You know, he fixed that, but still, it's kind of disappointing. So these are actually pretty effective, considering this is a trade value of 3, and leather's a trade value of 5. So these pastures, even the smaller ones, are actually quite effective. That's like 1,200 per person. Is that right? 16? Okay, that's about 800,000 per person. Trade value. The deer are awesome. 400, 800. They're just awesome. That's all I have to say about that. You can do that to expand all over the map. Just place a bunch of deer. Herbalists are pretty good too. Early game, not mid game like I am now, but early game they are. Even placing them in strange places like this. And the reason why is because you need 1, but it has a trade value of 4. So that first one, when you first place it, it gathers a lot of herbs really quickly because they've been accumulating, and that kind of sort of helps to thin thicken the forest up, because that'll allow the trees to be placed there. Anything else I want to talk about? Oh yeah, the limits. I use my limits judiciously, or I mean, I use my limits. It's sort of like to control the economy. Like, you don't want a billion like I saw one where he was importing it was Dracossack. He was importing logs, and that's a good idea, but at a certain point, like, you get so many logs that it's like your guys, they have to walk forever to try to put their firewood away, so you lose efficiency that way, because these do get full easy, and so do your storage barns. Your storage barns get full easy. So being able to put your finished goods away, and just thinking about your distribution network, your storage distribution, your transportation network, just thinking about those things and how to make them work optimally is kind of how to play this game when you're getting into the later stages. You got to like change your tactics. Like, having tons of vendors to move stuff into your markets will help improve the flow of goods from production to consumption. I haven't decided yet if the woodcutter is, see, like, some of these woodcutters, I wonder if I can find one. They make 800 wood, or 800 firewood, which has a trade value of 4, but you're using up a trade value of, I think, it's 1 per 3 if they're educated. 1 log to make 3 firewood. So these guys will have a high. Yeah, see, he made 972 that season. So 972, that's like, it's about 2,800 value for one person, but you're using up, what is that, like 300, so 600, so he's worth about 2,200 trade value. So these are super efficient, but to a point. Like, you can't have too many, or you can have too many, or you can have you can have the right amount, but you can not have enough stockpiles for them to work effectively, or you have enough stockpiles but you don't have enough people moving goods. There's just so many variables that go into effect. So about these up arrow icons, that means my limit's been reached. So I use this basically. You don't want to. Well, sometimes you do want to produce, but sometimes you don't. Like early game, it doesn't matter because you need laborers. I use limits. Like at the very beginning of the game, I'll put my tool limit and my close limit at 20, and everything else I leave the same. So what that means is my tailor will make hide coats until he reaches that limit of 20. Actually, he goes past it, like 26 or 24 or whatever he reaches when he goes past. So he'll make those hide coats, and then when he reaches that limit, he'll stop and do laborer tasks. The thing is like, especially for firewood, you don't want to have a full stockpile at the early game, and especially in the early game, laborer tasks are what make you move your city forward, especially gathering stone. So I'd much rather have my labor. I'd much rather be collecting stone than up off the ground, stone and iron off the ground, than making those early game like production surpluses. But that's what I'd rather be doing, because my goal in the very early game is to get up 3 trading posts, get up the town hall, get up a boarding house, keep making these 1 worker nodes, because they're super efficient in the early game, and get a school, get wells up, all that stuff. So I'd much rather have my people I'd much rather have my people doing those labor tasks and building tasks than making a super huge production surplus of tools, which I won't need or sell for a very long time. And when I do get a trader, like early game, when I do get a trader that has something useful, I'll keep them there by pinning the trading post window, and I'll increase the traders to get the stuff moving there as fast as possible to get it, so that I can have him going on his way, so the next trader can come. What else? Oh, here, these fishing docks. You'll be amazed. 462 for 1 person. It could be better, but this is kind of an awkward. Those were kind of awkward places to put, especially like here. Yeah, 168. Yeah, not very good. And plus, where does he work? Where does he come from? Yeah, right there. Way over there. And he has to drop his. Having the storage barn right next to the door increases your efficiency greatly for your fishermen. Some people say it's the amount of water. I mean, that does make a difference. But really, what makes a huge difference is having the storage barn, because because if your person's not there, it's not gathering. They're not gathering fish at that time. So what's in the I think what's in this circle is how the rate at which they gather fish. But if they're not at the dock, then they're not gathering fish, right? So having the storage barn close to the door is a lot more important than you might think. Here we go. Here's another one. 198. See, am I missing any? Yeah, one right here. 427 for one worker. Alright, well, that's that. I think that's pretty much covers what I wanted to talk about. Let's see. Do I have any more interesting numbers? Ooh, I do have one fun fact. I kept track of, for the gatherers, I kept track of not just how much food they collected, but also the diversity of food. And there was a winner on which one had been collected, had the most collected, and it was mushrooms, and it won by about 2.8% over the others. So there you go, that's the winner, was mushrooms in the race. But keep in mind that 2.8% is I didn't actually do like the statistical test on it, you know, because this isn't homework for me, but it's probably not statistically significant. So you know, don't tell people, you know, that it's 2.5. You get 2.5% more mushrooms. That was just what happened in this case, you know. It's probably within the realm of random variability that in my case it ended up being the winner. Or maybe that's you know, something that the developer left in there for some strange reason, you know. It is one, maybe he has some weird hidden things like that. You never know. So, alright. Thank you very much, guys, for watching.